Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister makes confidential integrity form public to clear up rumors. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Friday, 11th August 2023. Details after this important message.
Hubbard's Multi-Department Mount Gay and Hubbard's Tire Bay, located at the Building Supplies compound in Grand Anse, are reminding the motoring public that another round for licensing and inspection has begun. Just arrived on new shipments of quality furrowed and torque tires to fit all makes and models of vehicles at competitive pricing. Shop early to avoid the hassle of long lines. WhatsApp them on 473-405-5482. Hubbard's, quality service, affordable prices.
Welcome back. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has posted on his Facebook page what he says are excerpts of confidential Form A and also the public available Form B of the Declaration of Income, Assets and Liabilities with the Integrity Commission. TV6's political editor Jewel Brown reports.
In a post on his Facebook page on Tuesday, Prime Minister Dr. Rowley said that while the Declaration of Income, Assets and Liabilities to the Integrity Commission Form B is always open to the public for scrutiny, he showed extracts from the confidential Form A so that what he called the lies that are being published and fostered with regard to his purchase of a townhouse unit in the privately owned Inez development in Tobago can, in his words, be rebutted in their totality. The Prime Minister posted images of what he said are all 5 pages of Form B for 2019 and said, "There is nowhere on this form where one is required to fill in any details about a townhouse." However, Dr. Rowley also said that in Form A, it specifically shows where townhouse and condominium are shown as required by the form on page 9, and that contrary to what is being portrayed by what he declared to be persistent misrepresentation, that was filled in and submitted by him in 2019. The extract of Form A Dr. Rowley posted identified 3 properties he owns individually, and 4 which list him and his wife, Sharon Rowley, as owners, including one identified as Shervan Inez Development with an original cost of $1.2 million. On Monday, the Express newspaper and other media outlets reported that Senior Counsel and former Attorney General Anand Ramlogan, on behalf of his client Ravi Balgobind Maraj, issued a pre-action protocol letter dated August 3, 2023, to the Integrity Commission regarding its findings. The Express newspaper reported that those findings included that based on the evidence obtained, the Commission is of the view that Dr. Rowley did not knowingly provide false information in his declaration. The opposition UNC has been critical of the Commission's findings, in particular with regard to Form B. On his Facebook page on Tuesday, Dr. Rowley declared, "It is clear that he has never filed any false information to the Integrity Commission, that he did file a notification of purchase of a townhouse at Inez Gate, Shervan, Tobago, and that he bought a property and had no gift to report." Jewel Brown, TV6 News.
St. Lucia's Prime Minister quashes rumors of dissent at Customs Department in light of recent attack on Customs officer. Gina Filippi of HTS News Force reports.
Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre has quashed assertions of any dissent at the Customs and Excise Agency in St. Lucia. Recently, a daring ambush on a customs officer cast a shadow of fear and anxiety over the Customs Department. Law enforcement authorities had vowed to bring the perpetrators to justice while ensuring the operation safety of the members of the key agency.
I don't know of any dissent. In fact, Customs is performing very well. I'm very happy at what they're doing. The revenue intake is very good. So I don't know about dissent, and I don't know anything about it.
The Minister for National Security, Philip J. Pierre, says officials moved urgently to quell security concerns of customs officers.
When there was the accident, everybody was concerned. Certain steps have been taken to improve the security of customs officers. Certain steps have been taken. In fact, the customs officers themselves have applauded what we've done. But of course, there's a lot more to do. I'd like to do a lot more for customs officers, and we are doing a lot more for customs officers. But as I said, it's a work in progress.
According to Pierre, on his watch, the long-standing concerns at Customs Department are being slowly dealt with to ensure better work environment and heightened staff morale.
The customs officers for a long time wanted duty-free vehicles. They're getting it now. I know that there are some concerns about the physical arrangements in Vieux-Fort. That is being dealt with. There were concerns about the fact that there was an acting commissioner of customs that has been handled.
Customs officers are charged with meticulously inspecting all incoming packages to prevent prohibited items, such as drugs and ammunition, from flooding into the nation's streets.
Tanya Sue Chutkan, a Jamaican-born U.S. District Court judge, has been provided with heightened security measures following her selection to oversee another victory. This decision comes after she was publicly criticized by the indicted former U.S. President Trump, who questioned her suitability to handle his January 6 case. Nika Lewis of CVM Live reports.
U.S. media have reported that while the former President Donald Trump and his legal team are at odds over calls for Justice Tanya Chutkan's recusal in overseeing his January 6 court case, federal authorities have ramped up her security detail. A seminal moment as for the first time in history, a U.S. president is indicted, and not once or twice, but thrice so far. So why are Jamaicans at home and abroad watching closely and concerned about this Kingston-born Columbia District judge? Former UN ambassador and member of the diaspora Curtis Ward explains.
She was a Jamaican federal judge in Washington. As a matter of fact, she has been handing out lots of sentences in the January 6th trials. She has been trying many of those cases, and she's a very tough judge. She's a no-nonsense judge. She won't allow anybody to play her around and play around with her court.
Born July 5, 1962, weeks before Jamaica gained political independence on August 1, Mr. Ward notes she's not easily rattled and epitomizes the strength of the Jamaican people.
She has worked as a public defender, doing many cases before the federal bench, a federal public defender. She has quite an excellent record doing that. And then she was appointed to the bench, confirmed to this by the Senate. And let me say this, her confirmation was almost unanimous in the Senate. It was 95-0.
Aspects of the concern raised by the embattled former U.S. President Trump is that she may be inclined to the wishes of the Democratic Party being appointed by one.
Of course, she will come under a lot of attack, but my understanding is that doesn't faze her in any way. But the diaspora is quite proud of her.
He says much of the diaspora is supporting Justice Chutkan, highlighting she's been a hardworking judge who must be celebrated like so many other outstanding Jamaicans in the diaspora. Nika Lewis, CVM Live.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
There has been bipartisan support in the Senate for the appointment of Ian Hughes to the position of Antigua and Barbuda's Supervisor of Elections. Ragib Aparicio of ABS News reports.
After 2 decades of service within the Electoral Commission, Ian Hughes will soon be appointed to one of the highest offices in the land. Leading the motion, Leader of Government Business in the Senate, Senator Samantha Marshall, commends Hughes for his contributions to the Commission and wishes him well as he prepares for the new post.
By Constitution, on Elections Day, we all look to the Supervisor of Elections to ensure that it is all done fairly, freely, and in the most democratic way that is expected. Many will say that we still have more growth, Madam President, and that is expected. And I'm sure that Mr. Hughes will bring with him some ideas as to how we can even accomplish more.
Support for Hughes continued across the aisle. Leader of Opposition Business Senator Sean Nicholas says she has known Hughes personally for some time.
Mr. Ian Hughes is not just a colleague, but he is my personal friend. So I get that off. And not because we are friends, Madam President, but in his capacity as Human Resource and Training Officer for the Electoral Commission, and I as General Secretary of my party, we have had reasons on many occasions to be always in contact, to make sure that the greatest good is achieved at all times.
His first major task will be the imminent by-elections in St. Mary South, constitutionally due no later than October this year. The seat will be contested by Kelvin Shugi Simon, who resigned as Member of Parliament earlier this year, Senator Dwayne George on the ABLP ticket, and the Democratic National Alliance's Andrew Antonio. The ABLP's previous caretaker for the constituency reiterates why she opted to bow out of the race after her defeat in the January 18 polls. She thanks her former constituents for their continued support.
We make decisions not for ourselves. We make decisions to ensure that that level of quality of democracy and the opportunity of people to have that opportunity of choosing their representatives can continue.
Rakib Aparis reporting for ABS News.
UNICEF complains about violence of women and children in Haiti. FDC seized many drugs imported into Trinidad and Tobago. 3 men sought in Jamaica for murder of young woman. These items take the lead in this HGP Nightly Regional News with Paul Moore.
The United Nations Children's Fund UNICEF on Monday said persistent violence in Haiti remains a significant concern for the safety and welfare of its most vulnerable citizens, especially women and children, citing reports of an alarming spike in kidnapping and other crimes. According to UNICEF, nearly 300 confirmed cases were reported in the first 6 months of 2023, almost matching the total number documented over 2022 and close to 3 times the number in 2021. In most instances, children and women are forcefully taken by armed groups and used for financial and tactical gains. The victims who manage to return home grapple with deep physical and psychological scars, possibly for many years. The statement by UNICEF follows a report by the Center for Analysis and Research in Human Rights on gang violence and kidnapping, that there have been 83 cases of kidnapping during the month of July. It said 51 foreign nationals from 4 countries were kidnapped from January to July 2023. And in a nationwide crackdown on the sale of unregistered drugs, the Food and Drug Division has confiscated several drugs, including vitamins, from over 40 pharmacies across the island of Trinidad and Tobago. The value of the drugs seized was estimated at $5 million. Among the seized items was the Emergency vitamin drink mix, a popular choice by consumers during the COVID-19 pandemic. Although there is nothing wrong with Emergency, the vitamin mix is only being seized by the division because pharmacy owners fail to register the item. And police are searching for 3 men who allegedly raped and bludgeoned a 15-year-old schoolgirl at her home in Trelawney, a parish in northwest Jamaica, early Sunday. Police said that Jamila Cole, a student at Albertown High School, died from her injuries on Monday. Her mother, Janice Anderson, and her 17-year-old cousin, Kayla Dawson, who were also brutally battered, remain hospitalized. The authorities said that all 3 were asleep at their home when the men entered the house through a kitchen window. They reportedly used blunt instruments to beat the 3 females in their heads. The injured females were transported to the Mercy Junior Hospital in Spalding, Manchester, from where Cole was subsequently transferred to the Kingston Public Hospital, where she eventually succumbed to her injuries on Monday while undergoing treatment. I'm Paul Moore. Thanks.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
I am Eddie Frederick, wishing you a restful weekend. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.